I would like to move forward with the Monetiser track. Now, we have, I think, 2 or 3 sessions left before the end of the day. I'd like to introduce our next soloist. That's all good. Yeah. We've got a talk about unveiling the future of in-app payments in Europe, the evolution of app stores. And to give us that talk, it's Andrew from Worldline. So come on up, Andrew. Round of applause for our speaker.
So my name is Andrew, and I'm a Global Business Development Manager at Worldline. And Worldline is a global payments leader with processing over 43 billion transactions per year. And we're currently ranked #1 in Europe and #4 worldwide. And the Worldline team and I thought we would come here today and meet with all of you and kind of discuss about what's changing in the in-app purchase, in-app payment space in Europe, and how you can leverage that. So, is everybody with me? Yes. Good. So, imagine this. You're at home, in your pajamas, you're on the couch, and there's a random sitcom playing in the background, but you're not really paying attention because you're playing a mobile RPG game. And while you're doing that, you get a message. And it's your friend, Lisa, and she wanted to ask you a question. So you exit the game and go on the question, and you see this. Hey, can I pay with my payment app in the App Store to get more gold? So what Lisa wants to do, she wants to pay with her payment app in the same RPG game that you're playing as well to get that gold and use it in order to obtain a better armor that has more power. But you see this question, and then immediately you start thinking, Lisa, you can just look it up on the internet. But you love her. You've been friends for a while, so you really want to help her out. So you pause for a moment, and then you start thinking and realize that if we're talking about the last 15 years in the App Store space, the payments part of it, so in-app purchases, has always been the same, right? They have always been the same. But actually, in the coming months, in the European Union market, things are set to change. And Lisa, given the fact that she's based somewhere in the European Union, she'll actually be able to do this and use the payment app to get that gold and use it to get the armor. Isn't that amazing? I mean, this is the first time that this is going to happen. But before we get there, before we really dig deep on this topic, first, we're going to look at global mobile game spending and the different types of monetization that we currently use in the space. So looking at the past few years, global mobile game consumer spending has been steadily increasing, peaking in 2021 at $115 billion. 2021, if you all remember, it was an interesting year. We still had COVID, lockdowns, we were all at home, watching TV, playing games, some exercising. There was all these different things. So this peak could be attributed to a large extent to the pandemic, but we can see that the next few years, 2022 and 2023, it has started to stabilize, reaching these stable levels. So we have to compare really 2023 to 2020 to really see that it has been growing still. And when it comes to mobile game revenue streams, at the moment, right, we only have 3 that we combine or use individually. We have in-app purchases that stand at 48.2%, most used. Then paid app downloads at 37.8%. And then we have purely ads-based at 14%. And actually, this fascination, this extensive use of in-app purchases began a long time ago. And that is that day where Steve Jobs, as we all know, went on stage and he announced the launch of the first iPhone. So a year after this happened, in 2009, Apple actually introduced the first iteration of in-app purchases. Then Google did the same. Then Apple announced the following year support for subscriptions, but only for content-based apps. Then Google did the same. But the real change when it comes to in-app purchases and this revenue split happened in 2016, which is, again, is not that long ago. And in this year, this was the year where both app stores changed the revenue split model from 70-30, 70% going to the developers and 30% going to the app stores, to 85-15, under a condition, of course. And that condition was only if a user was subscribed to this app for over a year. But anyway, the space continued to grow, reaching $235 billion for both app stores. And then we were set for another change again for this revenue split. And that is in 2021, both app stores decided to reduce the fees that they traditionally charged, so the 30%, down to 15%. Again, under a condition. Only and if these developers earned less than 1 million. So a lot of changes have happened, actually, since the launch of the App Store and the first iteration of in-app payments. And through this development that we see here in these key years, we're actually set for another change, focused, though, on the European Union market. So the next change comes from a law. And this law is called the Digital Markets Act, or DMA, for those that have heard of it already. And this law is aimed at big tech. It's aimed at the gatekeepers, the ones that have the largest market share and control the market, and a few other criteria that were created by the European Union to identify which ones have the most control over the market. And it started in 2022, and is said to be fully applicable this year, on the 6th of March, 24 days before my birthday. That's how I remember it. So, cool, this is nice, all right, DMA, that's nice, but what does that actually mean? This means that for the first time ever, you'll be able to tap into some of that revenue that has traditionally been going to the app stores. You'll be able to leverage payment methods that have never been put forward for mobile game players before. And we're talking about all kind of types of payment methods. Could be peer-to-peer apps, digital payments, mobile wallets, anything, you name it. Anything your users like using and anything they have accessible. And right here, the team put a list just to come here and show to you where this currently stands. And we see on the map and in the list of countries, this is very EU-focused. I need to really, really specify, this is very specific for the European Union market. And for those that have heard, and I've heard a lot today at the event, about the 27% change that happened in Apple App Store, this is only applies for the US, right? The European Union market is different. We're still waiting on how this will look like. But we know that things are going to change, and they're going to change really fast. And of course, in order to get to this, in order to reach this point where you can actually leverage these new payment capabilities, you're going to need a trusted and knowledgeable payment partner, just like Worldline. You're going to need someone to help you really navigate this space, because looking at it since the beginning of time, things have been the same, unchanged. So having to go through all of this will most likely cause a headache. But through all of this, and this headache, there will be a new opportunity. An opportunity where you can really increase the quality of service and keep your costs low. And personalize the payment journey continuously. Offer your gamers every single payment method that they have accessible or want to use. And on top of that, you'll be able to use payment insights, unimagined before. So if you see that something is going wrong, you can use another payment method to compensate for it. You can use anything your users like to pay with. And ultimately, at the end of the day, your happy gamers, they result in happy payers. plus this amazing demo that the team put together back home, the Worldline team. So let's go back to the beginning. You're back at home, you're in your pajamas, you are playing the mobile RPG game, sipping on your cup of tea, you're on the couch, and then Lisa sends you a message. So you read the message, Lisa wants to buy more gold in the App Store. She wants to use her payment app, use that gold to obtain an armor that has more power. But she wants to use her payment app. This is how it's going to look like. Lisa will have to go to the counter where the gold is. Then she has to choose how much gold she wants to buy. Then when she chooses the amount, she'll be forwarded in the game into two different ways of payment. One will be, of course, the one that's native to the App Store, and the other one will be the one by the payment provider, just like Worldline. Then, if Lisa chooses the one by Worldline, then she'll be able to use her payment app. She'll be able to use the way that she wants to pay with. But as a user, personally speaking, and as a gamer, this is simply fascinating, because for the first time, you'll be able to use your local card or your local payment app. So anything that you have accessible and right in front of you, which I think is really, really amazing. But as the industry has continued to grow, reaching levels, going from those really simple games into these games with fully fledged storylines right now, I strongly believe that now we are set for a very radical change for in-app purchases and in-app payments. And this change will really shape how things are going to be in the next few years. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for really listening to this. This is really important, and things are set to change, and I cannot stress that enough. If you have any questions, happy to chat right now. This is also a QR code to my LinkedIn profile. If you want to connect right now, or we can chat now after the event. And yeah, thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of the event.
Do we have any questions here for our speaker from Worldline? While we're there, we've got Andrew for a few minutes. I think we're doing okay. Does anyone have any questions about what we've just seen? Oh, there's a question. I think I saw a couple of hands going up. There we go.
Yeah. Part of your feature that you mentioned is you could pay for apps in-game with in-app purchases. Is that assuming that Google and Android, via their Android implementations, would offer an interface for that?
Sorry, can you speak a little bit? I wasn't able to hear that.
Sorry. Part of your feature that you explained was you could make purchases in-app in the application. Yeah. Are you assuming that Google will make Android APIs that allow for that, or would it be like you go to the browser and you make the purchase?
Yeah, actually, it's already there, the one of Google, right? It's called user choice billing. Mm-hmm. So that's already possible. And actually, Spotify, if I'm not mistaken, has already trialed the product. And they were pretty happy with it. So it's already possible, so you can actually do it right now. Yeah. It's called user choice billing. Yeah. Just for Android, though. Yeah. Google Play. Yeah. Any other questions? Anything
Thank you.
You'd like to know? Anything we missed out, or anything else?
Any other questions for Andrew? What are you looking for here at Pocket Gamer Connects? Are you hoping to meet with developers looking for a solution like this for their games? Is that your ideal meeting?
Yeah, basically the changes that are happening right now in the EU market, these are the ones that we really want to focus on, because this is going to be critical when it comes to revenue generation for all these different kinds of mobile game companies, because you can tap into this revenue that you've never been able to tap into before. So this is what we're here to do today, to chat with everybody and just discuss, all these things that are changing.
Yeah.
And whether we can be of assistance of any sorts, really.
Yeah, that's great. And you loads of detail in your presentation. It was interesting to see the variation across the globe as well. There's a lot of the things we're talking about aren't universal right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's very specific to the EU right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the things that we heard about the US, recently were not great news, but it's a step forward and it's something that will continue to change. So, yeah, absolutely.
Great. So is there any further questions for Andrew? If not, I know it can be very difficult to put your hand up in front of everyone and ask a question. So I would suggest, I think we've got one at the back I couldn't see. I was going to say, just before we take that, if you have a question, you can always ask Andrew a question through Meet to Match as well. Sorry, yeah, go for it.
Hi there. Just a question about all the different payment providers that we've seen a lot of them today.
Yeah.
How do we choose? What makes one payment service better than another? What's the USP for your service, for example?
Yeah, like I said, it really depends what you're looking for. Yeah, like I said at the beginning, we are currently ranked #1 in Europe and #4 worldwide for a reason. So it really depends what you're searching for. If you're searching for a global coverage, if you're searching for trusted partners and all these things, then we can do that for you. Because we have the credibility and we have been collaborating with a variety of partners within the gaming industry since the conception of the company. So yeah, it really, really depends what you're looking for. But we can obviously chat about it later as well.